have them bells on so you could be update when the news drop, bro. I'm telling you, I'm the fastest in the world, bro. Ain't too many people faster than me. Now, with that being said, let's head on over to Yahoo Sports and pull up this Caitlin Clark article that was released this morning. So this right here came out early this morning. This is actually speaking about Caitlin Clark reaction to Chloe Bibby and Christy Wallace leaving this team. It stated Caitlin Clark reacts to losing teammates in the WNBA expansion draft ahead of the 2026.
Caitlin Clark was present at the NCAA Final Four when the expansion draft concluded, but still found a moment to publicly acknowledge both players the Indiana Fever lost in the process. Clark reacted on social media to the departures of Chloe Bibby and Christy Wallace, posting a brief tribute to Bibby that read, "My Aussie for life," a nod to the forward's Australian roots. Chloe Bibby had joined the Fever in late July 2025 and immediately connected with the fan base. Despite only appearing in 9 games before a knee injury ended her season, the forward left an impression.
26 season. Now, we know the expansion draft came with some drama, man, because the drama, what led up to this was the CBA negotiation, man. Now, Chloe Bibby was signed by the Fever in late July 2025, instantly a fan favorite, instantly came in and did her job. Impactful player. I give her that. Now, she had been dealing with numerous injuries across the roster in 9 games with the Fever. The forward averaged 4 points, 1.8 rebounds, and
She averaged 4 points and 1.8 rebounds across 9.8 minutes per game, giving Stephanie White's squad a reliable depth option in the front court. Portland Fire used the 11th pick in the expansion draft to add her to their roster, removing her from Indiana's picture heading into 2026. Christy Wallace, who had sat out the entire 2025 season for personal reasons, was claimed by the Toronto Tempo. The expansion draft unfolded against a backdrop of broader league developments, including the recently settled CBA negotiations that shaped which players were available to the new franchises in the first place.
Played a total of 9.8 minutes a game, providing Stephanie White team with some much-needed depth. And with the number 11 pick in the expansion draft, Portland selected Bibby, leaving her off the Fever roster for the 2026 season. Christy Wallace also, she took the entire, I think everybody forgot about Christy Wallace being on the team because I damn sure did. I ain't gonna lie to you. But Caitlin Clark, shout out to Chloe, man, who be tracking a lot of this information down. Chloe captured Caitlin Clark reaction.
Separate from the draft conversation, Dawn Staley drew significant attention following South Carolina's Final Four victory over Connecticut. At the post-game press conference, a reporter asked her about the exchange with Gino Auriemma at the final buzzer and whether winning this year carried any sense of redemption after last season's semifinal exit. Staley deflected the question about the confrontation, directing reporters to Auriemma as the one who initiated it, and made clear she did not want that moment to overshadow what her program accomplished on the floor. She then turned her attention entirely to the game itself.
Reaction, Caitlin Clark said, K-Dub, ill. Then she said, my Aussie for life. So she definitely reacted to these players leaving the team. And it's just unfortunate, man. Just an unfortunate situation. But at the end of the day, it is part of the business. Now, something else that has made news is Dawn Staley. Yes, Dawn Staley reaction after the press conference because she said she still have nightmares about Caitlin Clark. Let's
Her breakdown of the strategic approach was detailed. The objective going in was to force Connecticut into inefficient shot attempts, limit catch-and-shoot opportunities, and make the Huskies put the ball on the floor more than they preferred. South Carolina's players committed to gap defense, contested every look, and remained composed when Connecticut briefly pulled back into the game. Staley credited her team for executing a plan that required discipline from start to finish, noting that players do not always fully grasp what they are carrying out in real time, even when a coach can see it taking shape clearly from the sideline.
At this time, we will open up questions for Coach. Meg, we're going to start with you. We'll go Meg, Jonathan, Mitch, and I'll work my way over.
Hey, Don, it's Meg Hall with USA Today. A two-part question for you. One, if you could shed any light on the conversation you had with Gino right before the buzzer there ended. And two, last year to this year obviously is a big swing from Final Four game. Can you just describe the emotions of last year's Final Four game losing and then today winning and just any sort of redemption or anything that you might feel?
Staley also reflected on the program's broader postseason run. acknowledging that she remains unsettled by the 2023 Final Four exit above all other recent results. That group, in her view, had the capability to go all the way and never got the chance to fully prove it. Winning the national championship the following year did not erase that feeling. She described it as something that continues to sit with her, and said it fuels the approach every time the program reaches this stage again, a commitment to leave nothing available on the table.
One, you can ask Gino the question. You know, he's the one that initiated the conversation. I don't want, what happened there to dampen what we were able to accomplish today. And the difference is, experience. I think losses, when you have losses that hurt, but you really understand the why. I think UConn was a.
On the subject of Tania Gibson's performance, Staley said she never carried any hesitation about whether the forward was equipped to handle the moment. Certain players project a readiness that removes doubt before the game even begins, and Gibson was in that category alongside Raven Johnson and others. Staley added that Gibson had made substantial personal sacrifices during the season, stepping back from individual recognition without complaint, and expressed that she wanted that kind of player to have a championship to show for it. The number 1 pick in the upcoming WNBA draft appears to be settled.
It was a really well-oiled machine, and if you didn't have disruption and consistent disruption, and you allow them to play as freely as they want to play and shoot as freely as they shoot, they're very efficient and very, very good. Our whole objective was to get them to shoot as inefficiently as possible. Make them put the ball on the floor. Don't give.
Our fam is heading to the Dallas Wings, and the evidence pointing in that direction has been building steadily enough that the outcome carries very little genuine uncertainty at this stage. Dallas made their priorities clear through the expansion draft protection decisions. Every young guard on the roster was kept.
Don't give them as many catch and shoot opportunities, and I thought our kids really locked in to that. They were scrappy, they were in gap help, they were contesting shots. UConn got back in the game, and they were unbothered, right, by it.
Right.
They knew what they had to do, and I'm just proud because quite honestly, to play them the first time we played them last year, which was in February, I think, or January.
The players left exposed tell the story of what the franchise is actively building toward. Louisa Geisler's availability is the most telling detail in the whole equation. She is not a throwaway piece, a 6'5" center who blocks shots, moves fluidly for her size, and stretches the floor with a functional three-point attempt is an uncommon profile.
Zaza James plays the same position as Azzi Fudd. They protected JJQ and played a 1. They protected Arike, plays the same position as Azzi. They protected all their players that play the same position as Azzi. Unless they go completely out of left field and draft Lauren Betts. Or draft Olivia Miles. But everything that they've said is about a big. Everything they talk about is a big. And they talk about the coach has been talking about how they want their bigs to pass and run the floor.
Leaving her unprotected only makes sense if the organization is extremely confident a superior young big is arriving through the draft. That level of confidence only exists if the number 1 selection is already decided internally. The position protection pattern reinforces this further.
Run the floor and be an offensive. They've described Awafam. They have, the way the coaches and everyone's talking about what they want, they are literally describing Awafam. And there is no way in hell you leave Louisa Geisler unprotected unless you are very, very confident in replacing her with another young big. She is a decent.
Zaza James, who occupies the same positional role as Pham, was kept. JJ Quinerly, a primary ball handler, was kept. Every player protected plays a position that does not overlap with what Pham brings.
Is a decent shot blocker, moves pretty decently, shoots the 3, and is 6'5". There are very few Louisa Geisler shooters out there. Very few Geisler shooters. So, for me, I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm like, okay. It's very much tempted towards Like, it's very, you're saying they're all getting waived. No, they're not. There is no way they waive Sarah Ashley Barker, Puok, or Shug Sutton.
The public comments from Dallas coaching staff have only added to the picture descriptions of wanting a big who can pass, push in transition, and anchor an offense have functioned less like a wish list and more like a direct description of Fam's game. The idea that Dallas would pivot to Lauren Betts or Olivia Miles at 1 is possible in theory but contradicted by everything the organization has communicated. The roster construction logic simply does not support it.
There's no way. But, like, it does very much sound like they're leaning towards Awafam. And if we saw Zaza James there and Geisel Suter was there, it's one thing. It is genuinely one thing. Someone say Portland fired their GM already. But AZ potentially being there.
Looking further down the board, Azzi Fudd landing with Minnesota Projects as an excellent situation for her development. The fit there is arguably the strongest available to her among realistic destinations, with room to operate and a system that would complement her quick trigger scoring. A reasonable projected order beyond the top pick places Fudd at 2 or 3, with Olivia Miles in the same range depending on how teams weigh positional needs.
Potentially being there is a, in general, like, she's probably going to the Lynx, which is the best spot for her to go to. Like, if I'm AZ Fudd, I'm probably like, yes. Because in terms of fit, the best fit is absolutely, like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, the best fit for teams. It probably...
Paige Bueckers sliding to 6 represents an unpopular but defensible assessment. The Valkyries passing on her to take Yana Martin at 9 is a scenario that deserves more serious consideration than it has received publicly. There is also a practical complication surrounding Carla Lea that factors into how teams around the middle of the draft approach things.
It probably does go the way we're thinking about it. The best fit probably goes AZ 2 or 3, Awa 1, Olivia Miles 2 or 3, like them interchangeable. For probably unpopular opinion, possibly Flaugier or Betts. And Betts might fall to 6. If the Valks didn't protect late to select Iana Martin at 9, that makes a lot of sense.
If Spain reaches the finals of their domestic competition, Lié could miss the first month of the WNBA season. Losing 2 point guards simultaneously in the early weeks creates real roster problems, and teams with guard depth concerns will need to account for that timeline when constructing their boards. Veronica Burton provides some insurance, but relying on her alone while both primary guards are absent is a significant...
That makes a lot of sense. You might be speaking a lot of sense here. Not only that, like, because they're bringing Josite back. And there's also another reason for Carla Late that people don't understand is that Carla Late might not come. If Zaragoza make the Spanish final, she might miss the first month of the season. And as Josite is already missing the first month of the season, so you can't lose your 2 point guards for the first, or 2 of your point guards for the first month of the season when they have Veronica Burton. I think they're going to take...
Dallas does not need to be a competitive team next season, and that reality should not be treated as a negative. Building around a franchise-altering center takes time. The Wings are acquiring the best player in this draft class, accumulating young talent at multiple positions, and operating with the long-term horizon that rebuilding organizations require.
I think they're going to take kind of a like-for-like type thing. I think they're probably going to take in the draft, one of Iana Martin or Tanaya Latson. Like, that would be my prediction. But I think we're as good as set on Awafam going number 1. I think we are as good as set on Awa being the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. And
for a fan base that has endured extended losing stretches, getting Fam represents the kind of foundational move that justifies patience over the next few years. The draft positioning, the protection decisions, and every public statement from the organization have all pointed toward this exact outcome. The only remaining formality is the announcement itself,